It is a great day to be at Dollar Tree to find all new goodies to craft for fall. All of these projects are budget friendly, so get your popcorn and let's get started. We are going to start with a wood slice. Now, this one's not particularly from Dollar Tree. I got it on Amazon and I do have it in my Amazon store, but if you find them there, grab them. I'm going to add some moss. This is just some green moss I had left over from the summer season. And this cute little foam apple is so stinking cute, so little. I had it left over from last year, so I'm just going to hot glue it right there in the center. These little sunflowers are from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut a large one and a small one. I'm just going to add them towards the front with a little bit of hot glue to hold them in place. I am going to add the little one right there next to it. That way, it's just going to look nice and pretty. Now, I am going to add a little plastic dome that I got at Dollar Tree. It was part of another piece, so I'm just going to keep kind of dry fitting it so I know that it still can fit over everything. For example, this little pig, I wanted to make sure it wasn't too high, and it was. So I'm just going to cut off a little bit more and then just hot glue it when I have the size that I need. I am going to add a last little berry here just to the side, a little bit of pop of color. And then I decided to add fairy lights. Now my fairy lights I get on Amazon because I have found that you can get more bang for your buck, but I do find them at Dollar Tree every so often. I'm going to use the tip of my hot glue to melt a hole at the bottom of the little plastic dome. Again, this is the one I found at Dollar Tree. Again, it was part of it. It had a black base, but I used it for another project. I'm going to thread the fairy lights through the little hole and then tape the battery pack to the back. All right, so now we're going to start just putting the fairy lights around it. Now, this is where you want to be very careful. You don't want to tighten it where everything kind of gets scrunched up, but you want to hide it enough, but it's okay if you see it because it's just going to be a nice, beautiful, lit up craft. And I'm going to add very little glue at the base to hold that plastic dome, and it looks so cute. Oh my word. Love using these little pieces that are left over from other projects, but what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to use one of these glass bottles. You can find these at Dollar Tree pretty much every day. I really do love these. All right, so I'm going to remove the sticker from the bottom as well as the hardware from the top because we're not going to need it for this one. I found these little grassy picks. They just look very fallish. So I'm going to start folding it in half and I'm just going to stick them in there. These were left over from last year and they were all scrunched up and they didn't look pretty enough to add into a vase. So I'm just going to use them for this. I took 3 of them, folded it in half, and then scrunch them in there. It's okay if some of them are still poking through because we're going to add more anyways. Look how cute that looks. We're going to create a little scarecrow. All right, we're going to take some burlap ribbon. We're going to wrap it around the neck of the bottle. You can also do this with a wine bottle if you have them. And I'm just going to add hot glue as needed. I'm going to take another piece of the burlap ribbon, and then we are going to start threading some jute string around it. And I'll show you here. I'm just going to cut a piece, maybe about 10 inches, give or take. Now, about an inch from one end or one edge, I'm just going to start threading in and out, all the way to the other end, scrunching it just a little bit, not too much. This is going to create a cute little style of a hat for our scarecrow. So once I had it threaded, I'm just going to, again, scrunch it a little bit, making sure that it's where I want it, and I'm going to tie at one end. Then I'm going to wrap it around the neck of the bottle, again, just around maybe like the middle, and then I'm just going to hot glue it in place. This is just going to make it very cute. You can also add it by itself, but I think adding the threaded jute string and scrunching it gave it that nice kind of lifted look. All right, moving on. So we're just going to start adding a few more of these little grassy picks, and then we are going to make some eyes and face features. So I'm just going to use some of this black vinyl that I had at home, and I'm going to cut out 2 eyes at the same time so they're the same size and shape. You can also paint these on if you don't have vinyl at home. That's fine. I'm going to use some like stickers now. I'm just going to add 1 eye at a time. Then we're going to move on to adding the nose in the shape of a triangle with orange vinyl. And then finally the mouth, it's going to be kind of wiggly, and I'm going to use black vinyl for that as well. I decided to add an extra couple little picks just on the sides inside of the hat. I think that looks just really cute. All right, I am going to add just some embellishments on the hat. That's it. You don't have to. You can add ribbon around the top of the hat, but I decided to add a flower and some extra little leafies. This is just going to add some character and color, but again, you don't have to, but I think it called for it. It looks so cute. I've made a similar one, but small one. Love this one. It is taller. It is so cute. I think it would be even a great one to make with your kids if you want. So cute. Let me know what you think though down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take one of my daughter's old socks. It's still a little dirty, but I promise you it's clean. It's clean. All right, I'm going to take some white jute string and I am going to thread it into a needle. This is a stitching needle. Now this part I did not need to do. I'm just showing you so that you're not wondering where did that string come from. It was not needed, okay? So skip this part. All right, I'm going to stuff the sock with some pillow stuffing, and we're going to make a cute little pumpkin. Now, I've made one recently using another fabric, but I think this is going to be such a good one to do with your old socks. How fun, even the ones that are printed. All right, so I added jute string at the bottom and created what will look like a little tiny, I don't know, reminds me of a little dumpling. Anyways, I cut off the excess sock from the top, and then I'm just going to add thicker jute string from the bottom through the center all the way to the other side and keep doing that. You know what I'm talking about because you've seen this done before. All right, so I'm going to speed it up and I'm just going to keep doing this several times until I have as many as I want. You can do 4, you can do 8, whatever you want. I decided to do 8 because I just wanted to have a lot of little sections. So once I had the string all around it, I'm just going to tie it to itself. So I'm just going to cut off the excess and then thread it through the bottom of one of the string and then make a little knot. That's it. Cut off the excess, and now we're going to add a little hot glue and add some of these wood stems. You can find these at Dollar Tree. However, I have not found them recently, but you can always check if you want. All right, so I'm going to add this one with a little hot glue. And although you can leave like this, you can add a nice little jute string bow if you want. I decided to add a leaf because I think it looks really cute. And then one little tiny pine cone. Now, these tiny pine cones I got at Hobby Lobby, but I know Dollar Tree brings them. Love this little pumpkin. We used a sock, my friends. You can use anything you want. Love the texture and the colors, but what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take one of these wooden pieces that you can find every fall season. They are already very pretty, but you can always customize it to whatever style you want. I'm going to remove the embellishments from it because we are going to resurface it using some faux leather from Dollar Tree. I'm going to sand down the surface. I'm going to dust it really well. This is so that the adhesive spray really attaches. I'm going to cover with tape the top portion because I do not want that part to get sticky. And I'm going to spray it. Now, you can also use Mod Podge, but the adhesive spray works really well with the faux leather. Again, you can find these at Dollar Tree, although I don't know if they're going to be discontinued along with the vinyl, but you can always check. I'm going to use the blue because it is gorgeous, and I think it's a great color for fall. It has such a good amount of fabric, or leather, I should say, and I'm just going to cut off a piece that's going to fit it and then attach it. Now, it's so sticky right now, it'll stick so good. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to cut off the excess all the way from the edges. It's looking so pretty. Okay, so now we're going to add these embellishments back on it, except I'm going to add some adhesive spray to the leaf because I want it to be brighter gold. So I'm going to use some of these gold leaves, and I'm just going to add it onto this sticky surface, and then we're going to remove the excess flakes. And it's just going to reveal, it's still going to be golden, but it's just going to be brighter and a little bit more texture. And I think it really worked and it looked beautiful. All right, so I'm just going to brush off all the excess little flakes, and then we're going to attach it right back on to the wooden piece. I did decide to add some extra little embellishments. Again, this is just preference. You can add whatever else you want. You can add decal to the front of it with some words, whatever you want. It does not matter. I'm just going to add a few things here and there. my gosh, friends, this one's looking so pretty. I love blue for fall. I think it's such a gorgeous color. Love this mason jar. Went up a whole different level, but what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take one of the wooden pieces you can find in their wooden aisle year round. Love the beveled edges, and I love the style that it has. I'll remove the sticker from the back, and we're going to paint this one white. You can do whatever color you want. I just went with white because it just looks pretty with the design. One coat was sufficient. I'm going to set it to the side to dry. Once dry, I am going to sand it down just a little bit. This is going to smooth everything out and kind of give those edges a little bit of a distress because I just love all the kind of levels of the edges. All right, so I'm going to dust it and wipe it really well. And then we are going to pair it with one of these window clings because you know I love these. If you find them, grab them. They're really good, especially if you don't have a cutting machine. So good. All right, we're going to Mod Podge it on. Just a layer of the Mod Podge. And we're going to do this old-fashioned way, my friends. No iron today because it'll melt the cling. So we're just going to add it on and then add the cling. And then we're going to cut off the excess cling from the sides using my X-Acto knife. I'm going to add one more layer of the Mod Podge once everything was nice and set. That way it's going to seal everything in. It only takes a few minutes to dry. Look how cute. All right, so we are going to add some of these beads. Now, these come already threaded on string, but you can create your own if you want. But I mean, if you have these, why not? Now, I had this one left over from another project, so I'm just going to use the leftover, and we're going to place them on the back. Now, making sure that the beads are on top of the ledge, not behind it. We're going to add hot glue and a little bit of masking tape just to make sure it's nice and secure, and it just looks pretty and clean. And we're just about done, my friends. Oh my word, what a beautiful craft. So easy, so pretty, so fresh. Love it. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. I have another video here for you with tons more of Dollar Tree DIY crafts inspiration. Check it out. I'll see you later and have a blessed day. Bye.